I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
You buy organic. You read ingredient labels. You care about what goes into your body. So why not think about birth control the same way? Natural Cycles is the only FDA-cleared birth control app that's 100% hormone-free. It's based on science and uses your body temperature to identify which days you can and cannot get pregnant. No synthetic hormones, no side effects, just science you can trust. Save 15% with code RADIO15 at naturalcycles.com.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 1.
Hello and welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. Delighted to have you with me. The phone number this open line Friday, 877-973-7425. Don't forget, you can text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, so much more. We've got a war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. The Pakistanis have killed the leader of the Taliban and many of the senior Taliban leaders in Kabul. There are developments there. I'm paying attention. I will bring you the latest. Americans are leaving Israel. The American embassy has ordered non-essential personnel to leave Israel. I am waiting for some updates, and I'm telling you this is coming. We should get updates here by the bottom of the hour, and I don't want to jump ahead of the developments. So I'm going to talk about something else that is, it may seem a little more esoteric, but it's directly related to all of this stuff. And I want to start there. And I am a professional. I'm going to start with that. I am a professional. This is going to sound completely unrelated, but it's actually very related to Afghanistan, Israel, the situation with Iran. Just follow along with me, please. Netflix has withdrawn its bid for Warner Brothers. Netflix has withdrawn its bid for Warner Brothers in large part because Paramount, led by, Ellison, Larry Ellison, David Ellison is, who looks like he's had some work done, has decided to come forward and offered more money. Netflix thinks that they've been outbidded, and Netflix likewise knows that it has angered the President of the United States. The head of Netflix has decided that he has angered Donald Trump, Ted Sarandos. Netflix is highly woke, and as a result of that has decided he is not going to worry about continuing to invest. The large issue is that Netflix is very progressive. I myself have a Netflix account. They have some great programming, but they have some really dreadful super left programming as well. What Netflix is actually kind of doing is showing you can make entertainment for people on the right and the left and put it all on one platform, and the algorithm will divide us as to what we watch. There are some great food shows I like on Netflix, some great stand-up comedy on Netflix, but a lot of the original Netflix programming is garbage. Nonetheless, Netflix is a major American corporation. And I do have to say it is not a good thing that Netflix has had to walk away from what was going to be the winning bid for Warner Brothers in large part because it risked the ire of the President of the United States. No American corporation should have to change its ways because it has personally made angry the President of the United States. That's not the way the Republic is supposed to work. And I maintained that when Barack Obama was president and putting pressure on companies as well. And you can say, well, they started. And yes, you're right, but it doesn't mean that that is healthy for our republic. But it is what it is. Netflix, by the way, is going to make like $3 billion for walking away from the deal. So it's coming out okay. Its stock is going up, and Paramount is overpaying for Warner Brothers Discovery. So Paramount gets Warner Brothers Discovery if it goes through. Barry Weiss probably gets CNN. The media freak out is going to be epic, and it is actually worth watching this as people freak out about potential changes coming to CNN if Barry Weiss gets control of it. Paramount gets the major Warner Brothers movie, so it gets DC Comics, it gets Batman, it gets Superman, it gets Harry Potter, it gets The Wizard of Oz, I think. It gets some major American movies. And you're wondering, Erickson, how does this have anything to do with Afghanistan and Israel and Iran? Friends, where did Paramount get the money from? Qatar. Qatar is going to control some of the greatest archives of American movies. Qatar, which, by the way, is run by the Muslim Brotherhood, and I am not making that up, is going to control a great deal of it. It's not a conservative sale. My friend Giancarlo Sopo, who lives in Miami, is Cuban and writes a lot on conservative commentary. Says Paramount's situation, it's not actually conservative, and Paramount's movie slate is not actually conservative, and it actually is going to surrender to the Qataris a massive library of classic American films. Now, for those of you who don't understand the background here, let me bring you up to speed here. As I've mentioned before, in the 1950s and 60s, the Muslim Brotherhood was thrown out of Middle Eastern countries because the Muslim Brotherhood believes in essentially sleeper cell jihad. They come in, they appear to be the reasonable people, and they have written in the past, the leadership of the Muslim Brotherhood has written in the past, how they come in, they appear to be secular Muslims. They appear to be peaceful and easy to get along with, and it's a multi-generational project where once they have established themselves in sufficient numbers, they flip the switch and they demand the imposition of Sharia law. They are, what is it, 12th Mahdi or 12th Imam, I forget exactly what the term is, Muslims. They believe that the Mahdi was wrapped in a fold in space and will come back. He disappeared as a child. He'll come back as an adult, and he will spread jihad and destroy the infidel and set up an Islamic State. The Muslim Brotherhood believes these things. CARE in the United States is funded by the Muslim Brotherhood. Remember, it was exposed on Twitter that much of CARE's American social media for a time had been run out of Turkey. The Turks have become radicalized as well. The Qataris are the closest friends in the Middle East to Iran because the Qataris are the only place in the Middle East where the Muslim Brotherhood was allowed. And the Muslim Brotherhood began to set up shop in Qatar and embed itself within the Qatari operations and the Qatari royal family, and has used Qatar as a platform to spread passive jihad around the world, laying the roots for conquest later. It sounds like an Alex Jones conspiracy theory. The difference is that the Muslim Brotherhood leadership has openly for years written about this as their plans. My friend Michael Youssef is the pastor at Church of the Apostles in Atlanta. He has a book coming out on this very topic, and he quotes from the leadership of the Muslim Brotherhood. I had the honor of interviewing him a while back for his book that's forthcoming on this very topic. And Qatar is at the center of the Muslim Brotherhood's global operations to set up shop in Western countries, grow their populations through immigration, and then force those countries to embrace their Islamic ideology. We see it happen in Great Britain right now. The Muslim population in Great Britain is less than 10%, but the Muslim Brotherhood is dominant among that Muslim population and has gotten to the point now where the British Health Service no longer will advise individuals to avoid first cousin marriages because that offends the Muslim Brotherhood. And it is these people, the Qataris, who fund and back the Muslim Brotherhood, who have put up the money to buy Warner Brothers and the vast library of iconic American films that they will control. And today, in Qatar, our American military bases are empty. Remember, we have a strategic deal with them. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, has entered an agreement with Qatar to protect them. And our air bases are not in Qatar today. They've been removed from the country. Why? Because Qatar will not let us attack Iran. Qatar controls us. We don't control them. They've given the President of the United States a 747. They've given us military operations in the Middle East and then told us we can't use them. And now they want to buy Warner Brothers. They have spread their money across the left and the right in this country. They have funded right-wing podcasters and left-wing podcasters. They have funded global operations for jihad. They have funded Al Jazeera, which is a propaganda outlet for Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran. They have funded American podcasters on the left and the right. There are lots of allegations that through pass-through entities, they're funding some of the prominent voices on the right now who are attacking Israel but refuse to say anything about the Muslim Brotherhood or Qatar. Friends, this is not a winning deal for conservatives, and I'm afraid we've cut off our nose to spite our face because we don't like the wokes at Netflix. We've gotten in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatar to save Warner Brothers from the wokes at Netflix, and we've got now progressives at Paramount who will be in charge of it with the Muslim Brotherhood. They're not actually conservatives. They just wrote a check to the Republicans. That's it. And now today, military operations are heating up in the Middle East. The President of the United States looks like he does want to have a targeted bombing campaign of Iran. Pakistan has gone to war with Afghanistan as the Taliban has set up shop with Iran. The Taliban has great relationship with Iran. I think all these things are related. Pakistan has blown up the headquarters of the Taliban inside Kabul with the leader of the Taliban in there, has caused them instability. Israel has struck positions at Hezbollah. In fact, the word on the street is that we announced and took postures to present an attack on Iran. Israel watched Hezbollah to get in its response positions and then blew up the response positions. Americans are now being asked to leave the American embassy in Israel, and our military in Qatar has had to leave that country and cannot engage in operations from that country because the Qatari government has said they are protecting Iran. This isn't conspiracy, this is reality. And we've made a strategic mistake building up strong ties with Qatar. The Saudis, the Emiratis, the Bahrainians, the Omanis, the Egyptians, the Israelis, they all have warned multiple American governments, you cannot trust Qatar. If anything, they are a diplomatic proxy for Iran at this point. The Israelis warned us, the Saudis warned us, Dubai warned us, Abu Dhabi warned us, Oman warned us, and we did it anyway. And now we have a major military base in Qatar that is empty because we're not allowed to use it because the Qataris have decided to protect the Iranians from us. And they've given Paramount a lot of money to buy Warner Brothers Discovery and CNN, the only global news operation in the United States, the only news operation in the United States that has bureaus around the world is now going to be controlled by Paramount, which itself is going to be funded by Qatar. Do you not see the problem? Do you not see they have played chess and we've played checkers? I don't like Netflix, but I don't think Netflix is in the pocket of the Chinese communists or the Qataris or the Iranians. But Paramount got its money from the only country on the planet that has set up shop with the Muslim Brotherhood, which has declared jihad on the West. And I got a real problem with that. And I think personally you should have a problem with that as well.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
So you want your laugh of the day? I find this very funny. Let me read for you this quote. Iraq was attacked by the United States during Ramadan, and it's sickening to know that the United States is again going to attack Iran during Ramadan. The United States apparently loves to strike Muslim countries during Ramadan, and I am convinced it isn't what these countries have done to violate international law, but about who they worship. That would be Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, refugee from Somalia, Progressive Caucus deputy chair, who suddenly thinks that the United States, so Ramadan, for you don't know, it lasts a month. Are we supposed to say, I'm sorry, we can't retaliate because they're in Ramadan for a month? What an amazing, you know what they could do is they could say, you know what, Ramadan lasts 363 days, America. 363 days, you're not allowed to attack us because it's Ramadan. This woman is not bright. To think that we should base our national security decisions around an Islamic holiday is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard. I don't know if Ilhan Omar knows this or not because she's not just a Somali immigrant, but also progressive, so clearly has no sense of American history. But George Washington did a big attack on Christmas. It's real famous. There's actually a beautiful painting. Steve Pinley, my friend in Atlanta, has done a remarkable rendition. One day I want a just giant version of Pinley's painting of Washington crossing the Delaware. It's like, okay, so it's Pinley. If you don't know, Steve Pinley, brilliant artist. He's vilified by some art critics because he's a conservative and honest about it. And the original painting of George Washington is absolutely famous, Washington Across the Delaware. Pinley has recreated it in his style, and I absolutely love it because I love his colors because he embraces bright colors. Nonetheless, I digress. Washington crossed the Delaware on Christmas, doing a very famous attack on Christmas, and Ilhan Omar is upset that we're not willing to put off holidays for war. You know who else isn't? The Islamist radicals who attack Israel on holy days because they think it's going to trip up the Israelis. Wow. So because the Islamists are willing to attack on holidays, she's like, that's what we're doing. We're attacking on holidays. This is a 30-day holiday. You or a lunar cycle. It's like 28 days. You can't do it during Ramadan. This is absurd. This woman is in the United States Congress and doesn't understand how war works. Of course, she just hates the United States, too. Remember, this is a woman who said she actually does the bidding of Somalia in the United States Congress. Apparently not just Somalia. Terror nations around the world all have Ilhan Omar to stand up for them. Absolutely offensive. Now, I need to tell you about Swiss America. Swiss America wants to make you a smarter investor and trader. They want to teach you how you can use precious metals as part of your investment portfolio. They want to tell you what the BRICS are doing, teach you about monetary policy. They've got a great blog now at SwissAmerica.com/Eric. SwissAmerica.com. Really, you can go to SwissAmerica.com. But if you go to SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, SwissAmerica.com/Eric, I get the credit for it. You can also get their report, The Secret War on Cash, completely free. You can also call or text them at 1-800-289-2646. Just text my name, Eric, ERICK, to 1-800-289-2646. 2646, 1-800-289-2646, or go to SwissAmerica.com. Swiss America can educate you on metal trading, investment strategy, what the BRICS are doing, monetary policy. They've got a great blog. They've got a great podcast on YouTube. You can get all the links at SwissAmerica.com/Eric. SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Message and data rates, they may apply. And this is becoming a recurring bit, and I try not to do bits because I think bits can get predictable, but I've been talking a lot about failures of Democrats to operate blue cities and blue states successfully in terms of law and order, education, things like that. Well, a KATU news crew decided after a year of situations in downtown Portland and the promise of the local government there to clean it up, to go downtown in Portland, Oregon, and see just how well the new progressive administration had cleaned up the city.
After we were done shadowing, we walked around the area listening to people. As we walked around North Park blocks, one man threatened to break our camera, so we left the area. We made our way across the street to cart blocks. We were trying to check in on the food carts.
Love is life and life is living with things that are trying to be awesome, yeah.
That's when a man approached our camera and started acting erratically.
I see a big black shot.
A woman also started to yell and followed us to our car. Clearly, there's still issues with this area of downtown.
Clearly, there are still issues, y'all. The inability of progressives to govern these cities is something that personally I think Republicans just need to continue to note. So I live in Middle Georgia. It is a pretty Republican area, except my county is Democrat. In my county, the district attorney has just failed to prosecute a bunch of murders and crime. And I've been told now by multiple individuals involved in state law enforcement and stuff that organized crime has set up shop in my county because they know the local prosecutors are so bad at prosecuting crime that they can get away with more by being headquartered in my county. In fact, one state patrolman told me that they no longer arrest individuals in my county. They wait for them to cross county lines and commit a second crime and arrest them in those counties because the odds are more likely that they'll be successfully prosecuted in those other counties. And so you have this festering crime issue in my area, largely because the district attorney is so bad. And you've got this situation playing out in blue parts, even in red states. You've got blue counties and blue cities. Atlanta, stands out. The mayor of Atlanta is actually a very, very competent mayor who realized that he had to bring in law enforcement. He had to crack down on crime. Crime has improved in the city since he's been mayor. Businesses are no longer agitating to break free of the city, and the north side of the city is no longer agitating to secede from the city because, the mayor got the basics right as a Democrat, and he is socially progressive, but he's good on crime. You would think that other blue cities would learn from a guy like that, but no, they want to be soft on crime. And the whole situation is deteriorated. In New York City, it's getting worse. In Portland, Oregon, it hadn't gotten any better. In Chicago, it's not better. And Democrats simply cannot govern these cities and keep people safe. I don't understand. And you know what's so interesting is it's the white progressive voters who are enabling it. It's the white progressive voters who think it's white supremacy for them to be tough on crime. It's the white progressive voters who think it's somehow racist to take crime seriously. The whole thing blows my mind, the level of staggering incompetence by progressives around the country. In Portland, Oregon, the new incoming mayor claimed that she would clean up Portland and make it safe for businesses to do business, and yet the local TV crew immediately gets threatened when they go down there. There was a TV show I watched that featured that food truck alley a couple of years ago, and now it's people don't go to the food truck alley anymore. It's just not safe. Just wild. What's also wild is that you haven't gone to TalkingTankless.com to get your Rinnai tankless water heater for your home. The tankless water heaters from Rinnai will make sure you never run out of hot water. They are brilliant. They're the size of a small carry-on bag, and they get rid of your tank, you can yank your tank out of your house today and put in a tankless water heater. Our power bill went down so we don't have natural gas in our house. We do have a propane tank. And we had electric water heaters as a result. And they ruptured under our house because they were under our house in like the crawl space area. It's a thing. Our house is oddly built. One day I want to build a new house. But anyway, they flooded underneath our house. And I had to go down there and pump out the water because you got one of those big tarp things down, the moisture barriers. And we decided to get the tankless water heater instead. Our power bill went down. It's tied to our propane tank. We never run out of hot water. Go to talkingtankless.com today and get a tankless water heater from Renai for your existing house, for your new house. Talkingtankless.com. Never run out of hot water thanks to Renai. Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson. 877-973-7425 is the phone number should you wish to be on the program. Don't forget, text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 and get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, everything else you need. Overnight and then into this morning, Pakistan has been waging pretty aggressive strikes on the Taliban in Afghanistan. In fact, they blew up the Taliban headquarters. They killed the leader of the Taliban. And they now say it is all-out war. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Quote, a long-running conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan's Taliban regime has turned into what Pakistan declared Friday to be open war with the attacks reported in Kabul along the neighbors' shared border. Our patience has run out, and now there is open war between us, says Defense Minister Khawaja Mohammad Asif in a social media post. Pakistan has been pressing Taliban authorities in Kabul to halt what it says are attacks by Afghan forces and the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, or Pakistani Taliban, a militant group based across the border. Pakistani security forces said they responded in full force to recent attacks, striking Taliban border posts and hideouts in Afghanistan and hitting targets in Kabul. A spokesman for the Taliban government in Afghanistan said Pakistan had carried out airstrikes in Kabul, Kandahar, and Bakhtia's southeastern province that borders Pakistan. Pakistan declared a high alert in major cities, including the capital, Islamabad, warning of possible suicide attacks in response to the attack. Pakistan hasn't formally declared war, but is escalating its rhetoric to underline the depth of its frustration with the Taliban government. It is a real escalation. So after the Taliban took over Afghanistan in 2021, Islamabad assumed it might have some influence in the country because, remember, the Taliban had kept Pakistan as a safe haven and would float back and forth across the border, and the Pakistani government increasingly got radicalized. But Kabul, decided it wanted ties with India, which is more modern. The Taliban, by the way, are very regressive, but now that they've come back into power, they actually do want Afghanistan to be more of a state and have, in fact, worked in particular to steady ties with the United States and to steady ties with India. Don't think they're our friend, mind you, but they're less likely to set up a hotbed of terrorism there. Now, Pakistan is destabilizing the situation now. The Taliban leaders are upset. One of the Taliban leaders has been killed. One of the Taliban headquarters in Kabul has been struck. And this situation appears to be escalating. There had been a ceasefire brokered by Qatar and Turkey, but now the situation is descending into further war. While the Pakistan situation is happening, the situation with Hezbollah has decided to escalate. Now, there is a notice from the American embassy in Israel that they are asking non-essential personnel and non-emergency U.S. government personnel and family members to leave Israel as soon as possible due to an escalating situation there. What is the escalating situation? Well, the Israelis have now targeted Hezbollah. Here is the rumor, and I want to be clear here. It is just a rumor, and it is an interesting rumor, but it comes from credible sources. Here's what they say. The United States got itself in position to strike Iran. The Gerald Ford is ever closer to join the fighting. American personnel assembled in the Middle East and got into formation for attacks. They let it be known. They positioned themselves as if the first round of attacks on Iran was about to happen. And then they watched Hezbollah get into response formation, because the Hezbollah has been trying to regroup, and the thinking has been that if we strike Iran, Hezbollah will strike Israel. Now, we've mostly wiped out Hezbollah, or Israel has mostly wiped out Hezbollah, not us. Israel did it all. The pager attack was brilliant. But they've been rebuilding slowly. They've been rearming slowly. So we put everything into place to attack Iran, signaled that the attack was coming, drove up pizza orders at the Pentagon. By the way, this apparently, seriously, follow along with this. Remember, there's the pizza tracker at the Pentagon, and when something big happens, the orders go through the roof. And so somebody sent massive orders to multiple restaurants. The queue for pizzas got to over an hour. Clearly, something big was happening. Our fighters take off in the Middle East. We watch Hezbollah get into position to launch response attacks on Israel, and then Israel went and blew up Hezbollah. So we've wiped out Hezbollah's ability to do a first wave response into Israel because we acted like we were about to attack Iran. We never did. We did not attack Iran. Hezbollah got in position to respond to the attack, waited to fire their missiles. Israel blew them and their missiles up. Now, this is from the New York Times. With the threat of a U.S. strike on Iran looming, the United States Embassy in Jerusalem has told its workers they may leave Israel and warned them that if they want to, it is vital they do so immediately. The directive came from Ambassador Mike Huckabee in an email to embassy workers at the U.S. mission on Friday. The move followed meetings and phone calls through the night, Mr. Huckabee wrote in the email, which made no explicit mention of Iran. He said it resulted from an abundance of caution and conversations with the State Department in which officials agreed that the safety of embassy staff was a priority. Those wishing to leave should do so today, in all caps, Mr. Huckabee continued, urging them to find a flight out of Ben Gurion Airport to any destination for which they could book passage. The embassy's move will likely result in high demand for airline seats today. Focus on getting a seat to any place from which you can then continue to travel to Washington, but the first priority will be get expeditiously out of the country. He added that while there may be more outbound flights in the coming days, there also might not be. Already, KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines, has suspended service to Israel, citing commercial and operational considerations. The email was verified by 3 people with knowledge of the matter. Do you think it's a coincidence that Mark Rutte, the head of NATO, is Dutch, and it's the KLM, Royal Dutch Airline, that has said, hey, due to operational integrity, we're going to stop? I mean, it just seems like we're coordinating messages to the Iranians to pay attention to certain things, and then we're watching to see how they respond to those certain things. A part of me has wondered, is the Pakistan situation with Afghanistan related to this? Because the Afghans, they've been building up ties to India, but you know who else they've been building up ties to? Iran. They have. We now have a growing military presence. We also increasingly have a number of swing state Democrats in the United States House of Representatives who have come forward and said they're willing to prepare a armed authorization of force resolution for the president when it comes to dealing with Iran. There are a growing number of moderate Democrats who are willing to stand with the president on the issue of Iran. And that in and of itself is notable to me. Okay, side note, I gotta say this. I don't think you guys can hear this on the microphone. So I'm doing my show in the hotel. They've let us stay late so I can do the hotel, do the show, leave the hotel, get to the flight. My flight's at like 5:00, and someone has just spanked their child right outside my room, and I don't know if you can hear the yelling and the screaming of the children, but oh my Lord, it sounds like a war zone of children outside my hotel room right now. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I digress, distracted by the beatdown in the hallway. Obviously, nothing has happened yet when it comes to Iran. It appears, however, that more is developing there. It also appears that American allies in the Middle East are more and more open to the idea of engaging Iran in some capacity. Now, part of this comes with a story from Bloomberg News that has hit the wires here in the last little while. Iran is conducting regular and unexplained activity at bombed uranium enrichment sites, United Nations atomic inspectors said. Satellite imagery shows work taking place at sites targeted by the U.S. and Israel in June. IAEA Director Rafael Grossi said in a report on Friday, that's the International Atomic Energy Agency, the nature of what's happening is unknown to inspectors. They've been blocked from making examinations. The IAEA has been able to verify the state and location of Iran's inventory of near bomb-grade uranium for more than 8 months. Ongoing talks between Washington and Tehran over the Islamic Republic's nuclear program are set to resume next week. The agency's loss of continuity of knowledge over all previously declared nuclear material at affected facilities in Iran needs to be addressed with utmost urgency, Grossi wrote. Grossi met with the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Geneva last week. The U.S. and Iran continue to talk. Increasingly, Iran believes that the American engagement with Iran is a stalling tactic to allow us to build up. While both the U.S. and Iran said they're working towards a diplomatic solution, Tehran has previously said a deal must be reached by early March. That loose deadline sets up a potential repeat of the timetable that played out in June when Israel began strikes within 24 hours of the IAEA board's decision to censure Iran over its lack of cooperation. So the situation there continues to develop. Now, the president, should he strike Iran, there's a growing body of Republicans and Democrats in Congress saying he needs pre-authorization from Congress to engage. The president's team's position is that given the foreign policy powers and commander-in-chief powers of the president and the Constitution, as long as he's not declaring war, he can do it. Now, the response is, well, if you're openly attacking Iran, it's a declaration of war. The president's response is actually it's a defensive action because Iran is at war with us. So you can go back and forth all you want. It is an interesting intellectual exercise, but the reality is if the president bombs Iran, you and I both know Republicans in Congress are not going to stop him. And a growing number of Democrats in Congress are thinking we also need to blow up Iran. Whether or not we do is an entirely separate matter. It may just be the show of force is a negotiating technique or tactic, and we're focused on Cuba, which I, again, think we need to be focused on Cuba. We will see. Time will tell. All I hope is please just do it after 3 o'clock today so I can be on my weekend before we do something. And I don't know that anything is going to happen, by the way. Now, I do wonder if we're actually going to engage. And if we do, my suspicion is we do, and it's just not going to be a severe engagement. But the concerns at the Pentagon are, in fact, that it will drag us in further as Iran hits back. We'll be forced to respond. And I will tell you that the head of CENTCOM in the last 12 hours has given the president, according to multiple outlets, a detailed briefing, and he appears to be more supportive of the idea of bombing Iran than the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.